very good morning to everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Sandton Amateur Radio Club Bulletin on this Sunday morning, the 19th of January 2025 already. I've still got to make a point of remembering to sign that date. You're listening to the club station of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, ZS6STN, which is operated today from the shack of Richard, ZS6 Delta Echo in Kensington, Johannesburg. Once again, a warm welcome to everyone on frequency. I trust that you're having a great weekend thus far. Nice to see the sun again. This club bulletin is broadcast every Sunday at 8:45 local time on the following frequencies: 145.700 MHz FM in the 2-meter band and 7.115 MHz lower side band in the 40-meter band via relay of from the shack of Noel, ZR6 Delta X-Ray. Thanks very much, Noel. We're also going out on Echolink. The node is ZS6STN-R. And for those who may have missed the bulletin, the recordings are uploaded to the club's YouTube channel on www.youtube.com/@ZS6STN, together with the recordings of the club's hour tech talks, one of which is coming up in just over a week's time. The agenda for the bulletin today: club birthdays, club news, sorrel news, and call-in and swap shop on 40 meters and 2 meters. I'm filling in at short notice today, so I'm sorry there's no topic of interest. So let's move on to members' birthdays for the week ahead. On the 21st of January is the birthday of Edwin Heinstead, ZS6 EDI. On the 22nd is our RAE manager, Samir Alau, ZS6 EDC. And Jean-Paulo Bassani, I think it is, ZR6TB, celebrates on the 23rd of January. Congratulations and best wishes to all of you on the celebration of your birthdays. Now some club news. Yesterday was the first leg of the QRP contest, which is administered by the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. I know there was a lot of interest from our members, and I hope that you all had an enjoyable time making contact. Don't forget to send in your Excel spreadsheet, which calculates a lot of the points and multipliers for you. We also have a tech talk coming up on the last Wednesday of the month. There's more info coming up in the Sorrel News, but perhaps one of the committee would like to say a few words on this or any other club news. ZS6STN standing by.
ZS6 Hotel India.
Morning, Keith. Please take around there. ZS6STN standing by.
Good morning to you, Richard, and to everybody on frequency on this, the 19th day of January 2025. And by the way, I do have a little tech topic here if you would like me to do that later. But just to give you some club news, obviously yesterday the QRP contest took place. I think there is an article in the broadcast this morning, or the bulletin this morning, from the SARL, but I think that was very well received. I was in contact with quite a number of Santonites, Lee, Brandon, Matthew, Justin, and quite a lot of other stations as well. It was a lot of fun, I think, for all that experimented and had fun on the QRP contest. So maybe one or two people can also come in and give us a view on how they found the QRP contest yesterday, then Richard as well. And then absolutely, at last Wednesday of this month, which is the 29th, I'm just getting my diary in front of me here, we have the Tech Talk, the Power Hour Tech Talk, and that will be in person as well. So we will have the virtual session on Zoom, and we will have the in-person session at our clubhouse, which is at 11 Kildoon Road, Bryanston, the venue we call CJ's. So we would like as many members to be present as possible at the clubhouse. The clubhouse will open at 17:30 or thereabouts on Wednesday evening, the 29th of January, and it will close at about 20:30 or 8:30 in the evening on that Wednesday evening. And then every last Wednesday evening of the month, we will meet at 11 Kildoon Road, Bryanston, at CJ's for a club get-together. It's not really a formal meeting, club get-together, and then we will all participate in the Tech Talk at the same time, which starts at 7 o'clock in the evening and runs through around 8 o'clock in the evening. So please do diarize that, everybody. Then it's also worth mentioning that on the 1st of February, There are two boot sales taking place. I think the Pretoria boot sale and the East Rand boot sale. So maybe you could get through to one of those and have some fun with the Pretoria guys or the East Rand guys at their boot sales. So that is something worth having a look at as well. I'm just trying to find all my notes here. Sorry, Richard. Moved off the notes to look at something else. So that's happening then. And then next weekend, Saturday, is the 40-meter club contest. And we would really like as many members as possible to participate in the 40-meter club contest and fly the flag for the Sandton Club. One other item is the RAE, and I think you might have seen some communications from Gerrit and Samir. The RAE classes are starting, and so if you have anybody who has an interest in the RAE, please let them know and contact RAE at ZS6STN.org.za. Those are virtual classes, and then we obviously hold physical HF assessments, mock exam, and antenna boards. Thank you, Richard. ZS6STN, ZS6HI.
Great. Thanks very much for that, Keith. Appreciate it, and appreciate your offer of a tech talk just now. I'll call you in presently for that one. Just, you mentioned the two car boot sales on the same day. Just a heads up, I think I saw something about the Pretoria Club having a different venue to where they normally have their car boot sale out in Silverton. I think it will be a little bit closer in Centurion area, if I'm not mistaken, so that's just something to bear in mind. Right, let's move on. Radio Leak News for Sunday, the 19th of January 2025. In the news today, Sorrel and ICASA meet. 12 days for you to submit an award nomination or a motion, and the DXTC application processing returns to standard time frame. But first, here is some SOTA news. Sorrel News has been informed that on Saturday, 18 January, so yesterday, Adele, VK4APT and ZS5APT activated peak VK4-SE-024, and that qualified her for her second mountain goat status, so 2,000 points as a SOTA mountain goat. Congratulations, Adele. That really is a fantastic achievement. Sorrel and ICASA meet on Monday, 13 January 2025. Senior executives and managers of ICASA met with a delegation of the Sorrel led by Hans van der Groendaal, ZS6AKV, supported by President Nico van Rensburg, ZS6UL, Vice President Guy Eels, ZS6GY, and Deputy National Director Sorrel Hamnet, Brian Jacobs, ZS6YZ. Although it was expected to be an in-person meeting, the meeting was held on the Teams platform as some of the participants were still on leave but could join the meeting from home. There were 11 issues on the 4-page agenda. Recently appointed Senior Manager Rian van der Kolf, heading up the Spectrum Licensing Department at ICASA, will head up a work group with the relevant ICASA officials and Sorrel representatives to develop a new memorandum of understanding to replace the current outdated MOU. He told the meeting that he had been studying the current MOU and was updating it. He welcomed the new draft the Sorrel Science and Technology Work Group had developed. The ICASA Sorrel Work Group will meet before the end of February at a date to be finalized. Other items to be discussed will be the taking over of the Amateur Radio Licensing Administration, updating the SET agreement conditions, and special licenses for contestants. Another important item on the agenda was type approval. Senior Manager Type Approval and Numbering, Sianda Nkamisa, apologized for the long delay in finalizing the regulations. He said that it is a complex issue with several other government entities involved. They are currently finalizing the last few sticking points with the South African National Accreditation System, SANA. Mr. Nkamisa expects the process to be completed in the next few months. In future Sorrel News editions, we will unpack some of the agenda items in more detail. 12 days for you to submit an award nomination or a motion. The closing date for award nominations, motions, and points for discussion is midnight on Friday, 31 January. No late submissions will be accepted. There are 3 awards for Radio ZS. Although the editor makes the nomination, he would like some assistance for 2 of the 3 awards. The Gary Immelman RA Heritage Award Floating Trophy is awarded for the best article of a historic nature of an event that occurred more than 5 years previously, or an interesting radio personality that has played an important part in the development of amateur radio in years gone by. The J.J. Pienaar Trophy is awarded for the best article published in Radio ZS during the past year. Looking at the January to December 2024 issues of Radio ZS, what do you think was the best historical article and the best article published in 2024? Send your suggestions to radiozs@sarl.org.za. The Radio ZS Shield is awarded to a SARL affiliated club or member who best supported Radio ZS during the year. The award nomination, motion, and discussion point documents are available on the SARL website. Please collect all the signatures on one document, convert the document to PDF, and submit it to the SARL secretary by midnight on Friday, 31 January 2025. And only use secretary@sarl.org.za as the address. Club news. Last week we gave you a teaser, a lead-in to the upcoming Power Hour Tech Talk on Wednesday evening, 29 January. This week we will give you a bit more of a tease as we and our guest speakers would really love you to participate in the collaborative and interactive learning experience. Tech Talks take place on the last Wednesday of every month at 1900 CAT on Zoom. Our guest speaker on the 29th of January is Philip, ZS6STN. You're very likely to already have a QSO or 2 with Philip, as he is really active. Philip has received multiple awards, local and ZX, and is an experienced QRP operator and winner of the 2024 QRP contest, who, with a bit of a twist in his arm by Brandon, our chairman, ZS6LZ, agreed to provide his story and insight for the benefits of all of us in the ZS amateur community. Please diarise and join the conversation on Wednesday, 29 January, so not this coming Wednesday, that's 10 days' time, at 1900 Central African time for the Power Hour Tech Talk with Philip, ZS6STN. See the SARL upcoming events diary for the details. Were you one of the active radio amateurs participating and having fun during the summer QRP contest yesterday? Then a big thank you. Please can we encourage you to submit your logbook before Friday 24 January, even if you are not participating as a contester. Besides than receiving an awesome certificate, you will also be eligible for one of the QRP contest awards, and further will really be contributing to how long to the log accuracy checking. For those that unfortunately missed out on fun during this summer leg of the QRP contest, the next opportunity will be the autumn leg, scheduled for Saturday, 5 April at 11:30 UTC. Diarise it now, as you do not want to miss out twice in a row. See all details on page 42 of the contest manual. Mega Flea Market. The Pretoria ARC extends an The Pretoria ARC extends an invitation to all radio clubs in South Africa to participate in the Mega Flea Market on Saturday, 17 May, at the Royal Elephant Hotel and Conference Centre in Ildegrain, Centurion. Please contact Almero Dubisani, ZS6LDP, on email almerodps@gmail.com to arrange for your club's participation. DXCC applications and processing returns to standard timeframes. In October last year, the ARRL announced the restoration of the ARRL DXCC system following comprehensive measures taken to secure its integrity after the cyber attack in May. Since the system was reactivated, over 4,000 DXCC applications have been logged for processing. Currently, we are processing applications submitted in December and continue to dispatch paper EXCC certificates and endorsement stickers. Between 27 December 2024 and 13 January 2025, we mailed out 315 certificates, with thanks to the ARRL letter to deliberately the source of the info. Propagation report. Hannes Kutsia, ZS6STN, reports that the solar activity is expected to be at low to moderate levels. There are currently 6 sunspot regions with simple to complex magnetic configurations visible. There is a high probability for C-class and low to moderate probability for M-class solar flares. If you want to do your own frequency predictions, the expected effective sunspot number for the week will be around 160. The 10 to 20 meter bands may, especially in the late afternoon and early evening, provide some good DX fun. Please visit the website spaceweather.santa.org.za for further information. Finally, a diary of some upcoming events. 24 January is the closing date for the QRP logs, the Summer Legs and QRP contest. 25 January is the SARL Saturday 40-meter club contest. The 29th of January is the Sandton Power Hour Tech Talk. 31st of January is the closing date for APM motions and award nominations and for summaries of papers for the SCCS. The May RAD registration also opens that date. On the 2nd of February, the Antique Wireless Association CW Activity Day. On the 9th of February is the Hamsat SA ZS6STN QSO Party. 11th of February is International Day of Women and Girls in Science, and the 13th of February is World Radio Day. This concludes our bulletin for this morning. Today's bulletin was written by Andy Khan, ZS680Y, and proofread by Paul Johnson, ZS1S. Finally, today's topic of interest. Thank you very much for providing a topic of interest. Today, I'll hand over to you now, ZS6HI from ZS6STN.
Thank you very much, Richard. Before we go there, I think that I heard Stuart ZR1 Whiskey Tango call, so maybe you should just call him in for now. ZS6STN, ZS6HI.
Thank you, Keith. I missed that. Stuart, ZS1 Whiskey Tango, over to you from ZS6STN.
ZS6STN, ZR1 Whiskey Tango in George. Good morning, Richard and Keith. I just want to say that I had a fun day with the QRP competition. I set up a little field station because, of course, I'm not allowed antennas here in my QTH. And on 40 meters, there wasn't too many. I think it's just maybe not enough people locally wanting to do it. But when I switched to 20 meters, gee whiz, I got so many in a quick space of time, all the way to Gauteng, Pretoria, Joburg, and so on. It was quite amazing, and I was just running 10 watts. So it was very exciting, but unfortunately, my battery ran out at 15 minutes past 10, so I only got 15 minutes of 20 meters. But next time, I'm going to make sure I've got a much bigger battery available. But it was good fun. ZS6STN, this is ZR1 Whiskey Tango.
ZR1 Whiskey Tango, Stuart, thank you very much for that feedback. I think I also battled a little bit with technical issues and made a grand total of 1 contact high, so definitely something to improve on next time. So with that, I'll hand back to Keith, ZS6HI, for our topic of interest. Over to you, Keith, from ZS6STN.
Thanks, Richard. Before I go there, I can just give a little bit of feedback. I know that on the QRP, I was out at the Rietfontein Nature Reserve, and I'd set up an NFED halfway there, and I was having lots of fun. Stuart, I did not catch you into the logbook, unfortunately. Big boo-boo on my part, hi. And I know that Matthew and Justin were operating a field station together out at Justin's place, and Brandon, our chairman, was out at the Sleepy River Caravan Park, and he had set up a beautiful antenna farm, trying to maximize everything there. And he had actually 3 transmitters, all coupled to the various antennas. And he said his strategy was not up to par, but he had a lot of fun, except it took a long time to put up all the antennas. So maybe Brandon can give us a chat about that next time. Okay, moving on to the Tech Talk. This is the title is Wiring Breakthrough Could Transform a Chip Technology. And this is by The Conversation, and it was on My Broadband News, so some of you may or may not have seen it. But the rapid technological advancements of our world have been enabled by our capacity to design and fabricate ever smaller electronic chips. These underpin computers, mobile phones, and every smart device deployed to date, including our radios. One of the many challenges is that electronic components generate increasingly more heat as they are miniaturized. A significant issue lies in making the wires which connect the transistors on the chip thinner, while ensuring that the minimum amount of heat is released. These interconnects are typically made from copper, and as we start to scale them down to nanoscale thicknesses, their electrical resistance increases rapidly because the electrons moving along the wires have a higher probability of colliding into the surface of the wire. This is known as scattering, and this leads to energy being released in the form of waste heat, meaning you need more power to maintain the same level of performance. A group at Stanford University has published a new paper showing that thin films of material known as niobium phosphide, or NBP, exhibit much higher conductivity than copper below a thickness of 5 nanometers. The typical thickness of the wiring in today's chips is about 10 to 30 nanometers. This improvement is because NBP is a material with unique quantum properties. NBP is in a class of materials known as topological materials, which have unique electronic properties due to their atomic structure, and they were the subject of 2016 Nobel Prize in Physics. Their conductivity along the surface is extremely high and stays the same regardless of changes to the shape or the size of the material. Physicists refer to this as topologically protected surface state. In other words, it is robust and not easily destroyed by reshaping it. Even when the material is made thinner, bent, or given ridges, the special conductive properties that can be observed on the surface remain present. This is important, as the ability to decrease the thickness of the electrical interconnects while still allowing electricity to flow easily is key to balancing the fabrication cost and complexity against energy efficiency. This gives MBP a significant advantage over other materials. What is particularly remarkable about the discovery by the Stanford team is that these quantum properties were observed in disordered films, meaning the niobium phosphide wasn't fabricated in the most controlled way to maximize its conductive properties. There's a good analogy in making bars of chocolate. It's vital to control the cooling process of melted chocolate to create the glossy end product that you used to. This process is known as tempering. Anyone who has tried this likely knows how dull and soft untempered versions of chocolate can be and how it affects the taste negatively. The difference between tempered and untempered chocolate is the size of the individual crystals within the chocolate. Or to put it another way, the amount of ordering within the chocolate's structure. Untempered chocolate contains multiple small crystals that are disordered with respect to one another. To make tempered chocolate, a manufacturer will cool it in a controlled way and also add a piece of tempered chocolate to promote the growth of a uniform crystal structure. Now imagine how useful it would be if you could simply skip this tempering. Not only would it make the production process more efficient, it could also decrease the energy required. This is essentially what the Stanford team have shown in relation to their new niobium phosphide material. To put it in technical terms, the niobium phosphide has no long-range order. This means that while it might have contained some of the small crystals that you would associate with an optimum version, the material was considered a disordered alloy overall. Despite this, it was still an excellent conductor for an ultra-thin film, seemingly due to the exotic quantum phenomenon of topologically protected surface states. If this effect can occur even in a disordered material, it greatly simplifies the manufacturing process with positive implications for the costs. This shows how quantum effects could lead to such significant improvements in conductivity, potentially enabling us to produce more powerful and energy-efficient computer chips in the near future. One important question is whether enough niobium phosphide could be available for manufacturing purposes. Whilst the university said this is not their area of expertise, phosphorus is almost as plentiful as carbon in the Earth's crust, and niobium is about 1/3 as plentiful as copper, roughly comparable with cobalt and nickel. That suggests that there is sufficient supply, though specialists would have to weigh the relative cost of extracting these elements from their ores. The university said, for those of us working in this field, the discovery also raises the question of whether other topological materials, such as tantalum phosphide and tantalum arsenide, could behave in a similar fashion. Also, what is the essential ingredient that NBP samples possess for them to act in this way? These questions will continue to engage scientists in their search for solutions to enable lower power computing technologies as we move forward into the future. Back to you, Richard. That's the Tech Talk that I had available. ZS6STN, ZS6HI.
Thank you very much for that, Keith. Yeah, very interesting. I actually saw that when I switched on first thing this morning, and I thought it would make an interesting Tech Talk. I just didn't have time to decipher all the multi-syllable words that I would have to pronounce high. But anyway, yeah, very interesting there. That brings to an end the news bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. Thank you to everyone out there for listening and for your interest and participation. We trust that you have enjoyed the bulletin, and please feel free to contribute ideas, comments, or any constructive criticism to info@zs6stn.org.za. And as always, thank you to the stations that assisted with relays and to those who contribute to the content from time to time. Join us again next Sunday at 8:45 Central African Time for the regular bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. This brings to a close the weekly club bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, ZS6STN, today operated by Richard, ZR6 Delta Echo. Thank you to all, and 7.3. ZS6STN now relinquishes all frequencies for general use. 7.3 from ZR6 Delta Echo.